Welcome, Kevin Sedbeck, Chief Safety Officer for S3 Consultants, and we start with Module 0 of our FAA SMS requirements, Part 5 requirements specifically for Part 135 and air taxi operators or commercial air tour operators. Yep, let's get her done. In our modules, we'll always begin with an agenda slide. This will help kind of shape expectations and guide your thinking. Feel free to peruse it, stop as necessary, and then restart when you're ready to go. So applicability. What we're going to do in this module is summarize FAA Notice N8900.700 with an effective date of May 29, 2024 and a cancellation date of May 29, 2025. And this is a national policy. The subject line is Interim Guidance Based on the Amendments to Title 14 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Part 5. So, as you see, there are amendments to Part 5 that are applicable to existing and new applicants for 121.35 and commercial air tour operators. We're not going to go over the changes in the Part 5, which aren't that big. We'll cover that in a later module. However, the notice provides guidance for new and existing participants to the SMS voluntary program that hold an existing letter of acknowledgement and are now required to comply with Part 5. As you know, the background, 121s had to implement an SMS. It was mandatory. Now it's mandatory for 135s and commercial air tour operators. So we'll cover, in this module, we're just going to cover the timeline requirements and expectations by the FAA. We're not going to come over how to do it yet. We'll cover that in later episodes. Just for completeness, we'll cover the 121s. They too are going to have to revise their SMS to meet the new requirements of the Part 5 no later than May 28, 2025. And applicants pursuing a Part 121 air charter certificate will have to develop and implement an SMS as part of the requirements for the certification or as part of the certification process. Part 121's certificate holders will submit a revision to the SMS for FAA acceptance in a form or manner acceptable to the administrator no later than May 28, 2025. And the SMS will be modified to the new 4 elements: safety policy, safety risk management, safety assurance, safety promotion. That's as much as we're going to talk about on the differences between the old Part 5 and the new Part 5. Okay, for Part 135, aviation service providers. The Part 135 certificate holders have until May 28, 2027 to develop and implement an SMS that meets the Part 5 requirement. Once the certificate holder has developed and implemented an SMS that meets that Part 5 requirement, they will submit a declaration of compliance to the Responsible Flight Standards Office. And of course, it's a legal document, which is why I typed this up verbatim. That's why it's stated twice. They want you to understand it's a legal document. So they want you to understand that if you say you're done and you're complying, then understand that if you're not, or if it looks bad, they're going to come and have a chat with you. Applicants pursuing a Part 135 certificate must develop and implement an SMS that meets requirements of Part 5 as part of their certification process. That's now the norm for anybody who's starting from ground zero. And also note, Part 135 certificate holders with an SMS voluntary program acknowledgement letter will remain valid until a declaration of compliance is submitted or until May 28, 2027, whatever comes first, i.e. get it done before the end line. I'm not sure what this does for you yet. We'll dig into it and see what we can find out in future modules. All right, commercial air tour operators, same kind of language. Operators under Part 91.147 with the LOA have until May 28, 2027 to develop and implement an SMS that meets Part 5 requirements in the same language with respect to a declaration of compliance. Same language with respect to new entrants applying for an operating authority as a commercial air tour operator. Pretty much have to develop and implement an SMS as part of that certification process. Now, there's an extra note for air tour operators, which isn't in the other two. The Responsible Flight Standards Office, at a minimum, will conduct surveillance of all 4 SMS components within 24 months after declaration of compliance is submitted by the commercial air tour operator and thereafter. Increased risk may increase frequency. And the increased risk is dependent on the following 5 conditions, which I'm not typing up there because it's kind of the bad boy list. Known to not comply with 91.147, with known high turnover rates of certificated individuals or management personnel. Certificated individuals are your director of ops, director of maintenance, chief pilot. With high volume growth or complexity of operations that are not associated with some type of air carrier operating certificate, i.e. Part 135, with a history of accident incidents, occurrences, or pilot deviations. So that's why it's kind of the bad boy list. So if you meet one of those 5 requirements, anticipate getting a surveillance visit much quicker. And again, they're directing their flight service offices to conduct surveillance activities within 24 months from the submittal of the declaration of compliance. So expect the visit. All right, for those of you who are in the SMS voluntary program, here are the Part 5 requirements. As I said before, Part 135 certificate holders with an existing SMS voluntary program acknowledgement letter, which means that they've accepted you into the program and you're progressing along trying to complete your SMS voluntary program. You will effectively remain valid until a declaration of compliance is submitted or until May 28, 2027, whichever comes first. So I don't know how the voluntary program is going to move going forward, but it's pretty much, you're in the program. I don't know what it gives you. You still got to do a declaration of compliance, and you got to have it done by May 28, 2027. Upon publication of Part 5 in the SMS in the Federal Registry, aviation organizations with an accepted SMS recognized by the FAA must revise their SMS to meet the new requirements of Part 5 and submit a declaration of compliance to their responsible flight standards office no later than May 28, 2025. So in about 5 months. So if you didn't realize this, you're behind the 8 ball, so you better get going. If no declaration is submitted by May 28, 2025, the principal inspector, aviation safety inspector, will notify the aviation organization of their removal from their SMS voluntary program acknowledgement, which means you lose your letter, which I can tell you is beneficial, especially if you operate overseas, because before I retired from the company, we're setting up to operate down South America. I sent the acknowledgement letter, and they accepted the SMS without change. Otherwise, you have to write one specific for that country to their SMS requirements. So you might want to work on that and keep your letter going. SMS participant aviation organizations requesting to voluntarily enter the SMS voluntary program must implement an SMS that meets the requirements of Part 5. I don't know why you would enter now. I'm going to have to research this some more, and we'll have a module about this later. But there you go. That's what the wording says. All right, let's do the quick summary. If you have an existing SMS accepted by the FAA, you must revise the accepted SMS to the new Part 5 standard. That's both for the 121s and the voluntary program folks who have an accepted SMS or acknowledged, and submit a letter of declaration of compliance no later than May 28, 2025. If you're starting a new Part 135 certificate or commercial air tour operator with an LOA, you must complete Part 5 prior to certification or LOA being granted. If you're an organization that has accepted into the SMS voluntary program with a current acknowledgement letter, just keep chugging along. You have until May 28, 2027 to submit a declaration of compliance. If you do not fit any of these categories mentioned above, you have until May 28, 2027 to design, implement, and then submit a declaration of compliance letter to the local flight service office. And if you're a commercial air tour operator, expect a surveillance visit within 24 months of submitting the declaration on compliance, or sooner, depending on a risk assessment completed by the FAA. So that's pretty much it. There's your deadlines. It's time to get to work. All right, questions. If you have any questions, ask them below if you have subscribed to our channel. That's how you ask questions. Subscribe and like, and then we'll keep this free content flowing and have someone else pay for it. And I'm Kevin Sedbeck, Chief Safety Officer for S3. Talk to you in the next module.